and welcome everybody. My name is Jocelyn and today we are organizing my single eyeshadows. These are all of my pan eyeshadows. I do have a couple of blushes and highlighters mixed in here also that we'll kind of be organizing along with all of the pan eyeshadows. I do have quite a few containers here. As you can see, a lot of them do in fact have shadows in them already, but it's not very well organized at the moment. And I do have this Adept Cosmetics palette right here that doesn't have anything in it yet, so I want to utilize this palette right here quite a bit, and I'll kind of go into that further when I explain kind of everything that I've got. I do have a lot of different shadows, not a lot of different shadows, but I have quite a handful of shadows from a handful of brands. So I have some things in here from Makeup Geek, some things in here from ColourPop, a couple things from Makeup Forever from before I went cruelty free. I do have some things from the indie brand Lethal Cosmetics, and then I think I've got a couple things that I've pulled out of eyeshadow palettes. So I don't know that we'll need much more of an introduction other than that. I hope that this is an okay angle for everybody. It's kind of the best I could come up with. Well, let me just kind of explain what I've got going on here before we start actually sorting through the shadows. We'll just kind of go from top to bottom. I do have this Sephora single right here. This is the shadow Safari. I just pulled this out of its plastic packaging so that I could pop it into a Z palette. So that's right on top. Also, we have a bunch of magnetic backings. I don't think that I'll need these, but just in case I did need them, I did pull them out, but we'll put them to the side for now because again, I don't think that we're going to need them because most of these things are already magnetized because they are already in the palettes. So this next little palette right here, again, does have some shadows already in it. We are going to pull those out at some point. Most of these are ColourPop or Makeup Geek, but I do have a Lethal Cosmetics shadow in here and a Naked 2 palette shadow in here. So that's what's going on in here. This Z palette I got a really long time ago. It is a collaboration between Makeup Geek and Z palette along with this bigger one, as you can see right here. I do not think that this rose gold chevron Z palette is available anymore. If I can find it, I will link it, but I don't think that this is available anymore. Next, we have the Lethal Cosmetics palette. I did purchase this kind of recently, so within the last few months. I did purchase all of the shadows inside individually, and when you buy 12 Lethal Cosmetics eyeshadows, you get one of their palettes for free. So these are all of the shades that I got when I made my order. Lethal Cosmetics, again, is an indie brand based out of Germany. I'll leave a link to their website down below, but these shades are incredible. The mattes in here are gorgeous. I'm not going to be taking any of these out because they fit so well into this palette, so I think that this will remain as it is now. I do really like this palette also, though, because it does come with a mirror, so if you're interested in checking out any kind of indie brand single shadows, Lethal Cosmetics is a good one to check out. Next, we have a Sephora and Z palette collaboration palette. This one really doesn't have too much in it. It does have a couple of blush shades, a highlight shade, and then a couple other random shadows in here. This one is by Sephora Collection, and this one I actually don't know where it's from. Oh, this is an Essence eyeshadow. That's what that is. Okay, so this one definitely will need to have some work done to it. If I end up having a lot of extra space in all of these palettes, then this is probably the one that I would end up getting rid of. I do like the size of it, but I don't really just like the palette in general. So I might end up getting rid of this one if I can. Kind of already talked about this, but this is my Z palette and Makeup Geek collaboration Z palette. I really like the pattern on this, and I really like Makeup Geek. So this has a bunch of, some of these are Morphe shadows, like I think all of these are Morphe shadows, and then these are all Makeup Forever shadows over in this corner. These over here I pulled out, I think that those were, I think these were maybe a Morphe collaboration. This is just kind of a hodgepodge palette, as you can see, and then I have a couple of other random shadows, a Naked 2 shadow. This little shade right here came out of some kind of Sephora perk. This next one is one of my favorite magnetic palettes. This is something I bought off of Etsy. It is, okay, the ring light is just killing us. There we go. This is by the brand GlamTech. You can find them on Etsy. They do these really neat magnetized eyeshadow palettes. They do etchings in the top. I think you can choose from some of their custom designs, or you can submit designs that you would like to put on top of a palette. Definitely, absolutely gonna hold on to this. And then finally, the Adept Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. This thing is huge. It's not that expensive. I bought mine on the Adept website. You can also find it on Amazon but they are a really, really good brand. I like them a lot. But if you open it up, it does, oh, I do have shadows in here. Would you look at that? It does have 2 different sections to put eyeshadows, and then also over here we have a mirror, and then this side up here is blank. So there's a lot of different things we can do with this one. I'm definitely going to, I think, fill this one up first. I think. I'm not totally sure. I might fill the GlamTech one up first and then fill this one up. I'm not totally sure because I do really, really love the GlamTech one, and I like that you can see through it. So we'll kind of play around with what I want to end up doing. But those are all of the cases that we're working with. What I'll do next, I think, is I'll put them to the side and then organize my single shadows into different groups. I don't want to do it, I think, by brand, except for the Lethal Cosmetics. Those ones will stay in that palette that I showed you earlier. What I think I want to do is I want to organize them by color and formula, maybe. I want to have all of the circle pans together, and I want to have all of the bigger pans, I think, together, and then the oddly shaped ones together. So we'll go ahead and start by putting them out in color category and then go from there. So we'll push these to the side. And first and foremost, we have the little Sephora shade. I guess we'll start kind of a mauvey purple shadow collection over there. This Sephora collection, again, has a bunch of blushes in it. You know what? This right here is a few years old, and it has pulled away from the side over here. So this is definitely expired. This was maybe part of a Too Faced collection a while back, and I have other shades like this. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of that shade. This is the only highlighter pan that I have. I think this is by Makeup Geek. There's literally nothing on the back, so I don't really know. Let me swatch it to make sure. Oh yeah, that's still actually really pretty. Holy crap. Okay, I'm gonna put this kind of off screen a little bit, and then we have 2 more blushes. This one is a Makeup Geek blush in the shade Head Over Heels. I think this one's still good. Yeah, that one's still good. This one right here is actually by Benefit. This is, I think, the Coralista blush. And this one's also really old. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this one. It's also cracked a whole bunch. And again, I think I'm almost positive this is the Benefit blush, and Benefit's not cruelty free anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that one. This is another Sephora collection eyeshadow. This is in the shade, there's no names on here, but it is the shade 228. So we're gonna put that one with that shade since it's a very similar color story. And then we have just this regular beige shade over here that we'll just kind of put off to the side. All right, and that one is empty. I'm also gonna go ahead and just move the Lethal Cosmetics palette off to the side since we're not going to be taking those out. Next we have the Little Tiny palette. We'll just start pulling them out with pinky purple. I do have this one Lethal Cosmetics eyeshadow that doesn't fit in that palette, so we'll just go ahead and push that off to the side. Moving on to, ooh, this one's got all of those funky ones in here. Alright, moving on to the GlamTech palette. This one's going to take a little bit longer. Okay, and then we just have a couple or a handful in the Adept palette. Alright, so those are all the shadows we're working with. Looking at them all together, you can kind of see what my favorite tones are over in this side. A lot of pinky purpley, warm toned kind of shadows. I also really like a lot of these tones right here where it's a very light shimmer with a peachy, pinky undertone. My collection is obviously very severely lacking in greens, blues, yellows, even some pinks. Any bright color I don't really have that much of, except, you know, there's a blue here and a bright purple here. Well, actually, let me look at my Lethal Cosmetics palette. This will kind of, we do have some brighter colors in here. So we do have a coral, a bright green. I would like a matte bright green. I mean, this definitely helps a little bit, but ooh, yeah, I definitely need a bit more going on here. So now that we have them all out, it really doesn't look like too many, right? I mean, it's a lot. It's a good amount. I feel like there's not an outrageous amount of single shadows here. And again, I think I want to start with the GlamTech palette and then put the rest of them into the Adept palette right here. But I need to kind of clean up those palettes a little bit. So let me go and get some kind of wipe or something. So I just have a towel right here that I sprayed down with the cleaning solution. All right, so that will be good enough. Oh man, okay. I think I want to put my favorite shadows in here. Maybe I'll pull out my favorite shadows and then from there color coordinate it back into this palette. And I also don't think I want to put any, well, maybe I want to put some big ones in here. Will they fit like this? Not really. Okay, well, maybe we'll try and fit a couple big ones in here because there are some of these big ones that I really like, including this right here. This is a Morphe eyeshadow. This is in the shade Linger. This is a really cool shade. It might also be cool to have the highlighter in this palette because I really love this highlighter, but it would be hard to fit them in there. Okay, we'll put those off to the side for now. So let's start pulling out my favorite single shadows. So definitely these greens over here, this blue, this blue. Oh, that's really pretty. Oof, those shades are so pretty. Okay. Probably should have counted to see how many would fit in here because I don't know. Okay, let's start with all of these. Let me move these back into the frame a bit. Okay, so all of these right here are all ones that I'm gonna try and fit in here. And I think I wanna just go by color category. So I guess let's just kind of start popping them in there. Well, I kind of like that. Yeah, we'll stick with this for now. Perfect. So that is what that's gonna look like. Next, we've got this gigantic palette right here. Take my rag. Okay, let's go ahead and start by putting all of the larger eyeshadows on one side. Let's kind of do it by color category again. Also pop the blush in here, and then let's go ahead and put the rest of the strangely shaped shadows in here. Okay, what do we have left? We have this guy. Okay, that actually worked out really well and looks pretty good. All right, now let's move on, obviously, to the other side. And I almost forgot this little guy. There, pop him right there. Wow, okay, look at all this room I have. All right, so we have this palette. We've got my Lethal Cosmetics palette. And then we have my GlamTech palette. Oof. In the frame. All right, I think those actually look really good. I have some extra room. I mean, I have this whole palette that hasn't been used, this little palette that hasn't been used, and the Sephora Collections palette that hasn't been used. Man, it sucks because I really like the shape and the size of this palette, but I don't really like this palette. And I have so much extra room in these two palettes that I don't need to keep that one. So we're gonna go ahead and move that one along. I do have these two full palettes empty, and then I have quite a bit of room left in this palette. I'm pretty excited about this, and I'm excited that I finally got to break out and use my Adept Cosmetics palette. I think that everything fit in here really well, especially all of my mismatched, oddly shaped shadows that don't fit in, you know, the standard circular shape. And I'm glad that I finally got to put two of the bigger pans into my most used palette. I'm definitely gonna hold on to this little palette. This is where I like to put combinations together. I recently did a video, not recently, but a couple months ago, I did a video with Zane San, and we created a springtime wildflower themed palette, and I put my single shades, my little curation, into this palette because they fit really well in here. So this is not only good for stuff like that, but also for travel. So definitely gonna hold on to this and, you know, the larger ones so that I've got some room to grow. Single shadows are definitely one of my favorite categories. I love being able to pick and choose shadows, and it seems like there's a lot of indie brands that have single shadows available to try, and I've definitely got my eye on a few, but that is for another video. So I think that this is kind of the end. I just wanted to take some time with you to reorganize my single shadows now that I had new ones and also had new organizers. I hope you enjoyed sitting with me today and kind of just watching me go through them and reorganize them. I hope that you liked kind of what I did with what I have. I definitely like the way that this looks, and I'm excited to get some more use out of some of the things that I've been neglecting. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to subscribe for more content from me, don't forget to do so before you go. All buttons are down below, and I think that is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.